The ideal situation would be to overturn the Supreme Court ruling that allows for effectively unregulated money independent and regulated money for the campaign. I would turn that on its head if I could. I think campaigns ought to be personally accountable and responsible for the money they receive. There should be, I don't think we need to restrict it. Voters will have the ability to say, I'm not voting for you because, Schmidlak gave you money. But the key is just that total transparency about the amounts of money and when them, and who gives it, and have it with 48-hour turnaround. That would be the appropriate thing. Then a candidate will be held accountable for whatever comes to the voters through the campaign. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court ruling makes that, at least temporarily, impossible. So it's going to require a amendment to the Constitution. There is a growing sense that we need to amend the Constitution, though. There's a growing sense because of the lack of a balanced budget, because of giving back the power of line item veto power for the president. I would support term limits as well. Florida has term limits. It works. It works really well. You have young, dynamic people that emerge. I don't know if Will Weatherford's here, my good friend. Will was a Speaker of the House for 2 years when he was in his early 30s, and there hasn't been anybody. There's been some really good speakers, but no one as good as him. He would have never been a speaker had we not had term limits, because he was extraordinary. He's an extraordinary leader. He'd be a backbencher in some states where they don't have any change. He'd certainly be a backbencher in the Congress. So the possibility of a state-driven convention process is growing, and I would encourage it, because I think forcing the federal government to do what states have to do to balance the budget, giving the executive the power to use line item veto power to bring discipline is a good thing, and term limits would be. And so that's a fourth possibility could be overturning the Supreme Court decision and creating greater transparency for how you raise money and how you spend it.